Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. Today's going to be an important video. We're going to talk about the best non-legendary champions for every single Doom Tower boss. Going to give you guys some ideas. Definitely be on the lookout for champions that we mention more than once. If you have those champions that are good against multiple Doom Tower bosses and you haven't built them yet, well, what are you waiting for? Seriously though, it might give you some ideas. Hey, I have this champion at my vault. I've been reluctant to upgrade them. Now might be the time to do so, especially with a couple of these champions that we're going to mention. So before we jump into everything, guys, a quick non-Raid Shadow Legends kind of question for you guys. You guys know I like to do this from time to time here on the channel, and that is give me your best documentary or TV show recommendation. I need something good to watch right now, so give it to me, and don't give me just like the best thing that you've seen recently. Give me like your all-time best that you recommend to your friends and family. Like really good stuff is what I'm looking for. I just finished Netflix Black Hole documentary. I think it's the edge of all we know, I think it's called. Really good. Check that one out, guys, if you like astronomy or stuff like that. Very good. Anyway, into the champions. Let's start with the Nether Spider. So Nether Spider, we don't want big AoE attackers because of those counterattacks on the Spiderlings. We want cleansers, we want continuous heal, we want shields, revive, block debuffs as well. I run Drexstar Blood Twin, who is a legendary champion, so having the HP burner as your main damage dealer while the rest of your team is built around supporting them is a great strategy. That's the one that I use. So let's talk about some cleansers to start out with, right? So cleansers are so important against the Nether Spider, and my favorite rare in the game is a good place to start. Reliquary Tender, not only does she have a revive on her A3, she has the weak version of decreased attack on her A1, which is nice to have. Decreased attack good against almost every Doom Tower boss as well. And she has that cleanse with what we just said, right? That continuous heal on the same ability on a 3-turn cooldown. She's fantastic. Now, I'm just going to talk about her now because we're going to be talking about her a lot in today's video, guys. Is probably, dare I say, the best support champion for Doom Tower as a whole.
Just calling to say
Doom Priest. Thinking about making another guide on her because she's that good. And there's so many ways to build her. You can put her in shields. You can just make her as fast as you can. You can put her in relentless gear. I run her in relentless personally, and I love it. She has increased attack, but it's really about the passive. Heals all allies by 7.5% of her HP and removes one random debuff at the start of this champion's turn every turn. And that's on a passive. It cannot be put on cooldown. She's so incredibly effective. Just one of my favorite champions in the entire game, especially after the introduction of Doom Tower. Now, we also have a farmable champion for you guys, Spirit Host. On her A3, she has a remove all debuffs from all allies and block debuffs buff on all allies for 1 turn. Nice to have. She also has an increased attack as well on her A2. So Spirit Host is an option for you guys. The bad news is it's on a 5-turn cooldown. The good news is again, you do get that block debuffs for 1 turn after the cleanse. We also have a champion that I wanted to give a shout out to. Not S tier, far from it, but Acolyte. Acolyte does have turn meter on the A2, which you're going to be careful of because you could get that counterattack. You get that counterattack from the Nether Spider. However, on the A3, we do have that cleanse on a 4-turn cooldown. Another option for you guys that you might be sitting on, and you really need, that second cleanser or just a first cleanser if you're in the early game. Now, one of the most popular cleansers to use is going to be Mausoleum Mage, right? You'll see him on a lot of teams. He has increased crit rate, increased defense, and block debuffs on the A1. He has decreased speed on the on the A2, decreased speed on the A1. Very good against so many bosses in this game, having that decreased speed, even at a 50% chance, is solid on the A1. And then we have, again, that full cleanse on a 4-turn cooldown, plus a heal, more turn meter fill, too, if more debuffs are removed. A very good champion, very popular. A champion that I use as my debuffer is from Ogryn Tribe, and it's actually Ugo. Ugo has a block buffs for 2 turns and a decreased defense, really solid ability here on a 3-turn cooldown, and she has removing heal reductions and then removes 1 random debuff and a heal. So we get the heal, we get the removal of a random debuff on a 4-turn cooldown. So I'm a big fan of Ugo as well for Nether Spider. Those are some of my favorite champions, guys. In terms of damage dealers, if you're not going to go the Drexstar or the HP burn route, of course, another champion to consider is going to be careful again with the turn meter, but Armiger is going to deserve a shout shout out pretty much against all these bosses, you know, with a couple exceptions maybe. But Armiger is so good, guys. Uncommon champion. Anybody can get him. He does have, again, that turn meter on the A1. On the A2, he has a hard-hitting ability on a 2-turn cooldown. Single target, again. He's effective against a lot of bosses. He's easy to keep alive compared to most rare champions. Heck, even a lot of epic champions, because his damage is based on his defense. So you just stack up defense, have that crit rate, accuracy if you do want to land the turn meter, and you're looking pretty good. Let's go on to the Scarab King, and again, we can start with Armiger again. Scarab King. Just make sure you have him in destroy gear, and very, very effective. Against the Scarab King, we want shield, we want turn meter, and we want decrease enemy max HP. So again, we have that turn meter on the A1. We have a lot of damage on the A2 based on enemy max HP and defense. And again, just everything you could want from a damage dealer. I run Armiger on my main Scarab King team, and I can clear, you know, all of Doom Tower hard, you know? So that's how good an uncommon champion is inside this game. Now, next up we have my man. Where the heck is it? I've never used Metal Shaper myself. However, he is an option for especially people who are struggling with that shield champion. What are we looking for in a Scarab King shield? Well, we're looking for a champion who has a shield that lasts the same duration as the cooldown. There's only 3 or 4, maybe 5 champions in the game that have this ability. Metal Shaper is one of the rare champions that has it. So again, place a shield on all allies. It's proportional to his level, which is kind of bizarre, but still it's not a bad shield. It's just really important to have that shield always up if you can. So he's a great option on a 2-turn cooldown for a shield champion in this game. Another kind of early game option for you guys, not High Elf. I think she's a Banner Lord. Haven't used her in a while, and it's Valerie. So Valerie also has a shield. It's just on a 5-turn cooldown, which is not ideal, but it's an option for the early game against the Scarab King. It has the shield on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield depends on this champion's level. Man, these level shields, they're popular on rares, I guess. Another rare champion for you guys, for a shield champion, not as effective because, again, similar to Valerie, this shield is on a 3-turn cooldown, right? So it's a 2-turn shield, but, you know, the holy grail here is a Valkyrie or a Lodric Falconheart or a Metal Shaper that lasts the same duration. But Draconis isn't bad because he also has a cleanse on one ally on his A3 and a heal on his A1. So he has a decent support kit for you guys if you're looking for maybe a secondary shield champion on your team. I mentioned Lodric Falconheart, and boy, he's kind of a new epic champion, but he's a great option because of that shield. He removes all debuffs from one ally, which is nice to have with the ally protect on the A2, but on the A3, it's a 2-turn shield. Again, guys, you know, very, very effective. Another ability it's pretty good against the Scarab King is counterattack. So the only non-legendary counterattack champion in the game is Skullcrusher. Skullcrusher's solid because he has the ally protection and counterattack on a 3-turn cooldown, unkillable on himself. He's an OG champion, a legacy champion in this game, but you don't sleep on Skullcrusher. He's still a really solid champion. He also has his passive where he decreases the duration of debuffs on this champion by 1 turn at the start of his turns, which is nice to have in his kit as well. Okay, anybody else? Yeah, I think a new rare champion, again, looking for kind of starting players who are just starting out, or Scrapper's not going to run you to, you know, the very top of Doom Tower hard, but he's not a bad option. You can even run him alongside Armiger as your second damage dealer in a destroy set, but he does have some built-in turn meter, decrease enemy max HP in his kit on a 2-turn cooldown. Destroys the target's max HP by 30% of the damage dealt, and a shield on himself. So he's really built as a rare option specifically for Scarab King, right? I have a whole guide on Scrapper that you guys can check out, specifically, again, for Scarab King. So I would refer you guys to that if you do want to go ahead and build your Scrapper. So that's Scarab King, guys. Let's talk about Sorath the Frost Spider. So we're looking for HP burn. That's going to be your best friend. Also, block revive is great because if the spider dies and they don't have HP burn on her, I was going to say them, they, them, she, I don't know. Block revive, then it's going to be revived with 50% HP. So if you have block revive, you don't have to worry about it having to die with that HP burn on it. Turn meter decrease and decrease speed also going to be very important. Let's talk about some HP burners here, guys, for a second. Coffin Smasher went from a mediocre rare champion to a really good rare champion. Only really using clan boss before Doom Tower, but a 3-time hitter on the A1 with decreased attack. So important to have decreased attack in a lot of these bosses, and you love to see it. This is each hit, by the way. Don't be turned off by the 30% when booked. 30% on each hit. It's pretty consistent that he's able to land this decreased attack on his A1, the big version. And then he has the HP burn on the A2. Really, really solid abilities. And then decreased damage enemies inflict with AoE attacks by 5%. That applies not just to Coffin Smasher, but to all of your allies. So definitely deserves a big shout out as an option there. Might mention Coffin Smasher again later on in this video. Another guy is Bulwark. Bulwark is a dwarf champion who's definitely worth investing in if you're struggling to find that HP burner on your team. He has a weaken on his A1, it's a weak version, but then again, on the 3-turn cooldown, he has a 100% chance of landing HP burn. He's defense based, and when attacked, 30% chance of extending the duration of all debuffs on the attacker by 1 turn. Really effective against Sorath the Frost Spider, because again, if she dies without the HP burn, you're kind of screwed. You have to kill her again with 50% HP. This helps extending the duration of that debuffs. So really, really good champion Bulwark against the Frost Spider. Also, again, we're talking turn meter. Well, we have to mention the turn meter queen. It's Allure. Allure is so good with turn meter, man. Not just Fire Knight, not just, you know, the regular spider, but anybody who is susceptible to turn meter decrease. Allure is fantastic. So Sorath the Frost Spider is an obvious choice. So on her A1, attacks 3 times, decrease the target's turn meter by 25% on each critical hit. Thank you so much, Allure. Very, very good champion. Also, a good turn meter champion, guys, is going to be Sylar. Sylar is very good against the Frost Spider. She has an AoE on the A1, AoE on the A2, and on the A3. Decreased speed and decreased turn meter by 40%. What did we just say? Decreased speed and decreased turn meter we're really looking for against the Frost Spider. You have it both on Sylar. Very, very good champion. We already mentioned Armiger, you know, 2 times now. Let's mention him again. Very good because he has, again, the block revive, right? So the block revive will get you around having to have that HP burn on all the time. I keep going down like, where is he? He's not even a rare, Ash. He's an uncommon champion. Those are my shoutouts for Sorath the Frost Spider. Again, having those turn meter and the speed is going to be very important along with the HP burn on your champions. So Magma Dragon, a lot of options here. We're looking for Provoke. We're looking for Ally Protect, and we're looking for an AoE Revive, right? So where do we start here? Let's talk about the obvious choice for Provoker, man. Jeez, Seeker. Seeker is so good. On his A1, he has that consistent provoke. Attack one enemy 2 times. Has not a 25 because when you book it, a 50% chance of placing provoke for 1 turn. Also has the turn meter fill, increase attack with the extra turn, and heals his champion by 20% HP, and increase defense on all allies for 2 turns when hit with a critical hit. Thank you very much. Very good champion. Another provoker option for you guys is going to be Demon Spawn, and it is Umbral Enchantress. Very good. She also has this really good A2 with the block buffs on it, but the A3 with that provoke and unkillable on herself, a 2-turn provoke on Umbral Enchantress, incredibly good. When we talk about Ally Protect, Vizix the Unbowed, legendary champion, so we won't mention her too much, is a great option. And also, good old Halloween champion himself, Miscreated Monster. Not only does he have that shield on the A2, not only does he have the decreased defense on the A1, granted, if the stun is placed, so not that effective against bosses. But he has the Ally Protect. Ally Protect on all allies except this champion on a 4-turn cooldown with the continuous heal and the big heal on that ability. So Miscreated Monster is a great option for you guys. Also, while we're here, damage mitigation is going to be huge. So having a Sepulchral Sentinel is going to be great for that. Not only does she have the increased defense and block debuffs, she also has the 50% chance of completely blocking incoming damage when an ally is protect. attacked. That's going to be amazing for you guys because that's going to mitigate damage completely against the Provoke champion potentially, because this is a passive ability here on Sepulchre Sentinel. So like a really cool kind of synergistic ability there on the Magma Dragon. We also have Skull Crusher yet again. Very, very good with that ally protect and the counterattack against the magic, dude, I'm all over the place. The Magma Dragon, incredibly good champion against Magma. Don't sleep on Skull Crusher, guys. And we also have two more that I want to give a big shout out to. Sandlash Survivor, very, very good champion. On the A1, we have, again, the Provoke. On the A2, we have the decreased duration of enemy buffs, increased duration of ally buffs. Love to see it. And then again, the Ally Protect on all allies for 2 turns when any ally's HP drops below 50%. Also places a block damage buff on this champion for 1 turn. Now, this is a Ally Protect that's on a passive, which comes in really, really handy, again, because sometimes you don't need to take all the damage of all the AoEs, you just need to support the Provoker on your team. So Sandlash Survivor is a great option, also has defense in all battles, so you love to see that as well. Now, I also wanted to give a shout out, we're talking about revivers, right? Ursula the Mourner, one of the better ones out there in the game, very, very good against the Magma Dragon, guys. Revives all dead allies. Gorgorab is another option, Undead Horde champion, Magic Affinity, but we have 75% HP, fills our turn meter by 50%, increased defense and strengthen on all allies for 3 turns. This is all on a 5-turn cooldown, guys. Really, really good champion, and also has decreased attack, which is really important against the Eternal Dragon. So Ursula the Mourner is an S-tier champion, or not Eternal Dragon, my bad, Magma Dragon. Ursula the Mourner is an S-tier champion against the Magma Dragon, guys. Speaking of the Eternal Dragon, well, again, we'll mention her again. Doom Priest is so good. I run her on my main team. She's incredibly good. We're looking for passive skills against the Eternal Dragon. Decrease attack, going to be very important. Counterattack and increase skill cooldowns, okay? So Doom Priest, passive, right? Another one is an Orc champion, Vrask, a very, very good healer in the game, guys. Vrask will heal all allies by 10% of his max HP whenever he inflicts a critical hit. So that's happening whenever he goes, which is pretty often. I put him in a Relentless set for even more heals. Very, very good passive on this champion. Another champion that was just kind of all right and now actually has a home here against the Eternal Dragon is Borgoth the Malformed. This passive, whenever this champion is attacked, heals all allies except this champion by 20% of the damage received. So again here, every single time he gets attacked, we're getting that heal, and he has to provoke on an AoE on a 4-turn cooldown on his A2, and then a continuous heal on this champion on the A1. That's a 50% chance land rate. Very, very good champion. Good rare champion. Not for the end game, but I've seen people actually I think I've seen him used a couple times in the end game as well. Again, Sepulchre Sentinel is incredible because of this very strong passive. You guys are getting the, getting the theme here down. And we also have a Lizardmen champion, Jarek. Very, very good as well. Really, he can be used in the end game against the Eternal Dragon, even against the end floor 120 final boss. Decrease attack on his A1. Again, so important to have. Look for champions like this with the A1 decrease attack. Ally Protect, increase defense, 4-turn cooldown, and look at the passive. Has a continuous heal buff on an ally for 1 turn whenever an ally loses 20% of their max HP in 1 hit. Beautiful passive, a ton of HP on this champion, easier to keep alive, and a great aura as well. HP in all battles can be used in Doom Tower as well. Who else do I want to give a shout out to? Oh, we have to talk about Padma, because Padma is a kind of an old school champion, but she's very good, and she's more than meets the eye when you first glance at her kit, right? She has that decrease attack again on the A1, but check it out, guys. An 85 can be booked up to 100%. So on an A1, you're getting 100% decrease attack every time on that A1. Very effective. Also has that decreased accuracy, and has a remove all buffs from the target and places them on this champion. A buff steal on a 3-turn cooldown from Padma. Very, very good champion for the Eternal Dragon. And one of my favorite strategies for the Eternal Dragon, a strategy that I use, is ally attack with strong A1s. So I did want to give you guys an option for a good ally attack kind of combination combination. Granted, they're both epic champions, but Fockerin the Fat is solid. He has an increased crit rate, increased crit damage on all allies except this champion on a 4-turn cooldown. Then all allies except this champion will attack a target enemy. A great choice for an ally attack on an epic champion, and a great choice to pair him with, guys, is going to be a Sacred Order champion. It is, where the heck, Fenax. Where is he? Really hard hitting A1, the second hardest hitting A1 in the game, and he can act as your debuffer with decreased speed and decreased defense on his A3 on a 4-turn cooldown. So great kind of option or combo for you guys for Eternal Dragon. So we talked about Padma, Jareg, Vrask, Doom Priest, Borgoth, Sepulchre Sentinel, Fenax, Fockerin. There's a lot of other champions who are good for all these bosses, by the way, guys. I'm just naming, you know, kind of themes of champions that you guys might want to go ahead and take a look at. And last but not least, the Celestial Griffin, guys. Well, I guess we can start right where we left off. Another champion, both of the newer Doom Tower champions at the time of this recording, the Eternal Dragon and Celestial Griffin. I love ally attack strategies. So again, Fockerin the Fat is going to be a great option for you guys. Same thing with Fenax. I won't go through their kits again, but I will mention that he has an HP burn and a poison as well on a 3-turn cooldown. So you'd love to see that as well. Plus some damage mitigation on his second passive. Next up, Doom Priest. You know, again, guys, you're starting to see the themes here. Doom Priest, incredibly good against a lot of bosses. If you haven't built Doom Priest and you're struggling against any Doom Tower boss, for the most part, anyone that we mentioned her on, build her, guys. I'm telling you, build her. You will not regret it, okay? Vrask, same thing. This is gonna be a lot of replays on Celestial Griffin. We're looking for not buffers. We don't want big buffers because those buffs will get transferred back. So those ally attack, or not the ally attack, these ally protect, and you know, those strong increased defense, the Siffies of the world. We don't want those champions on our Celestial Griffin teams. We want to stay away from the buffs and get the big heals or the passive heals. Champions like Syl the Drakes, champions like that, right? Again, Vrask is a great option for you guys. We already talked about him, but again, just really, really solid heals. I think I already mentioned this, but I put him in Relentless as well to get even more heals off of him. Coffin Smasher is, again, a great option against the Griffin because Coffin Smasher, as we mentioned it the first time, has a 3-hitter on the A1 with Giant Slayer. He can be your main damage dealer against that Griffin with the Giant Slayer mastery on him. He can deal some serious damage on this A1, and his damage is based on HP, so you can stack it up, and more importantly, you're getting that decreased attack as well on that A1. All right, we have Tyrell is another great option for you guys, an old school champion who has all the debuffs you need, including the decreased attack on the A1. So having a decreased attack on the A1 is going to be really, really important for you against the Celestial Griffin. So you can always have that decreased attack up because he hits incredibly hard, okay? One other ally attack, a shout out I will give you guys, is a champion that not many people know about or talk about, and is Hyria. She has on her A3 attack 1 enemy with 2 random allies. So there you go, the most basic version, not the most basic, I think there's an uncommon, I think, who has a 1 random ally, maybe 2 of them, but either way, Hyria is a solid option for you guys. Again, Spirit versus Spirit Affinity, the affinity is fine for an early game ally attack option. So there you have it, guys. We went over a bunch of champions that are my favorite non-legendaries for all the Doom Tower bosses. I hope that you found this video helpful in any way. If you did, let me know and I'll do more like it. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.